But I think we're ready to move on to the Raiders predictions for 2023. Mike, I'll let you go ahead and start this one off.
Cool. Yeah, I'll start with the win-loss record as well. Unless, actually, I want yours first. What is your prediction for the win-loss record for the Raiders?
I mean, it's tough. Can I get back to you on week 18? Oh. I'm not gonna say like the same prediction I had for the Niners. Like that's super fucking unrealistic. But I will say like sort of along the same lines where we still have yet to like we don't know a lot about this team yet, and things happen over a course of the season, yada yada yada. But if I had to pick a number today, I'll give you a range. I'll go between. I'll go between. I want to say 8, but I might say 7 just to be safer. No, I'll go 8. Anywhere between 8 and 11 wins. I don't see more.
Yeah, no,
more than 11.
I really like that. When I looked at the schedule and I, decided like I have to come up with a specific number, I see the Raiders win-loss record as far as my prediction preseason 9-8, a winning record, which compared to last season would be a major step up. An improvement. I know, obviously, every Raider fan wants to go to the playoffs. I also need to preface that the AFC is absolutely fucking loaded, and we were just talking about the Steelers as a dark horse team. I mean, if you add the Steelers to the list of potential playoff teams in the AFC, this thing right here, right there, is a standings board that I have with magnets, and it has every team by division. And right now I have the Chiefs at the bottom in the AFC West because they fucking lost today. Just wanted to remind you. But the Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns, complete fucking wild card. The Jaguars, you could throw the Titans in there, but the Colts and Texans can eat it. The Chargers, honestly, the Broncos, complete wild card. And, of course, the Chiefs will make the playoffs. I left out 3 teams. 3 teams as far as that, like, I'm like, they're not making the playoffs. The Patriots, the Texans, and the Colts. And I didn't mention the Raiders, so technically 4, but, like, I see the Raiders as a dark horse in the same breath as the Steelers. And I agree with you that, like, max 11 wins. If, like, maybe not max, but, like if
As
everything
of
goes
today,
right.
what I see.
Yeah, if everything went right and, like, kind of best case scenario, I mean, not literally, but you know what I mean, I could see 11 wins and they get in that 6th to 7th seed, right? They're not winning this division. I'm sorry, they're not, I mean, unless they are uber efficient and the defense is top 10, like shockingly improved, right? Which I just don't see happening in 1 year, but crazier things have happened, right?
I'm not going to say they're not going to win the division, but I would just say that I would be shocked to see it happen.
Yeah, we would be shocked until it's like week 10 and it's like, holy shit, wait, look at the schedule. They can do this. And then maybe they do it, right? But yeah, I just, as a realistic person that is looking at the schedule, I got 9-8, but I agree with you. I could see between 8 to 11 wins. Like, that's a perfect range.
I could even see 7, so maybe I might extend it to 7. It just really depends how the season breaks. And
yeah. Bear in mind, like,
guys step up.
Yeah, this is assuming, like, everybody's healthy. Like, that's the best case scenario, right? Worst case scenario is Jimmy G gets injured in week fucking 2 against the Bills, and he's out for the season, and it's up to Aiden O'Connell, and, like, maybe for 1 or 2 weeks it's like, oh, it's happening, and then it's like, he's the 4th-round rookie. He's not really that good,
Mm-hmm.
And they don't, they lose a bunch of games, and they end up, like you said, 7 wins or 6 wins again. I think the major difference this year, though, like I keep saying, efficiency, they're not going to lose games that they're leading by 3 fucking scores. That's not happening again this year. There's no way. Unless it's against the Chiefs, they're not losing a game that they're up by over 14 points, which happened like 5 times last season.
We're gonna.
My dick. So
I am going to screen record that, and I'm going to see if they do lose a game where they're up by 3 scores and it's not the Chiefs. I don't think they will because I feel like
that has to be
I
an
want.
emphasis for Josh McDaniels. Like that is the one thing that was clearly on him, unless it was on Derek Carr, but like it was also on the defense, obviously. But still, it's like that's an emphasis, dude. That shit's not gonna fly again.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing. Like I can say it. I think I said it. I think I said it early on in our podcast episodes. Josh McDaniels, I guarantee it. You can screen record this right now. Unless some really weird shit happens, like what's going on with Chandler Jones, if some really dire weird shit happens, then maybe. But I can go on record and say Josh McDaniels will not get fired at the end of the season. He will not. It's not happening. And it's not because he shouldn't. Like I'm not like a Josh McDaniels dick writer. I'm just saying, based off of what I see from Mark Davis and his decision making, he does not want to fire a coach again after 2 seasons or after a short stint. He wants to let a coach and GM who are working together, that's why he hired them together, but 2 buddies from the same organization,
A successful one.
Yeah, to build their team their way, according to their plan, in their necessary amount of time. That's what he was doing with John Gruden, right? And at first, it was a clusterfuck with Reggie McKenzie, and that didn't work well. They didn't mesh, and that's when Mark Davis decided, well, I want a GM that works well with the head coach. And then Mayock came, and then that shit got all blown up. Now you see how, Mark Davis is reacting. So, anyways.
I mean, I think we can confidently say that Mayock and Gruden didn't work out. Like, aside from the whole email scandal, that combo, like, how many first rounders did they hit on? Like, just Colton Miller? And, like,
yeah, I mean, I think John Gruden's drafting was horrible.
Niners have been successful with only one first rounder that they've re-signed, but like it's like the Antonio Brown situation, all that other shit, the Henry Ruggs situation.
Yeah,
well, that happened with Bisaccia, but it was another Gruden pick.
It was a Gruden and Mayock led decision. Yes. Their first round picks were horrible, and I'm like fairly positive the idea or thought process or fact is that Gruden had full say in everything, obviously, like he could veto, but he chose the first round picks, like that was kind of his guy. Maybe not on defense, like Cleveland Farrell, that might have been a Mayock guy, but on offense, I think he was the guy pulling the trigger. And other than Colton Miller and Josh Jacobs, it did not work. Yeah, just sometimes. It was bad decision making. I just looking at this leadership, GM and head coach pairing, like their decision making is so much better. It's not even funny. You just need to actually like pay attention, and you can see how much better it is and how much better they are at drafting. That'll take years to actually see, but and last year they didn't have a first round pick, so we'll see with Tyree Wilson, but it just seems already like they're pretty good at doing this. So, anyways,
we'll see.
That was a rant.
The quick little comment I want to make is sometimes these head coaches have to just stay the fuck out of the way. I know you want your guy like in the first round, but I think you have to like you have to let the scouts be heavily involved because they're the people who have seen everything about these players.
Yeah, I mean, John Gruden got signed on to a 10-year mega deal, and Reggie McKenzie and his scouts were, kept layover, whatever you want to call it, from the previous season. Mm-hmm. And the report is that when that first draft came for John Gruden and Reggie McKenzie's staff, the scouts, here's our scouting grades. This is what we think. And then draft time came, and John Gruden was just like, I'm going to draft this guy. And Reggie McKenzie was saying, well, what about this? No, I'm going to draft this guy. Click. It didn't even fucking matter. So, dysfunction. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I know it seems like the 49ers on our side looks like they draft way better in the later rounds, and I wonder if that's where the scouts actually have say in the picks. And earlier on, Shanahan's like, I want this guy. They trade up for a couple guys, like, just let who's in charge of that and who that's
Who's their
their
job?
sole job.
Yeah.
That is their sole purpose. Let them do it. Just tell them what you need and let them do it.
Well, that was my thing with Mayock was look at his late round picks. Max Crosby, Hunter Renfrow, right? You could add in like Foster Moreau. There were a bunch of depth guys that they got that were like really good for this team. I mean, now Malcolm Kuntz. We'll see, but still, like that's what it's feeling like, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but the first round picks were just abysmal. So,
So
as
give me
far as
your
this,
MVP and your breakouts.
yeah, as far as this team, well, do you have any breakout? I want you to go first. Do you have any breakouts? Just
I'm gonna
based off
go
of
with.
everything you've been hearing.
I'm gonna go Tyree Wilson. I think that being opposite side of Max Crosby definitely gives them an advantage. It's gonna take them a little bit of time, but it sounds like, I mean, in my opinion, and we'll talk about this a little later, Chandler Jones's future with the Raiders is in question, and that's putting it nicely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, or at least the near future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got Tyree Wilson. How about Hunter Renfrow and Jacoby Myers?
Jacoby Myers, sure. I mean, Hunter Renfrow broke out 2 years ago when he had like 1,000 yards. Like we know he's
how about a
great,
return to
but
form? But
yeah.
I feel like Hunter Renfrow. I mean, because Jimmy Garoppolo's the quarterback, I feel like Hunter Renfrow can find himself in sort of like a similar role that the Niners had Trent Taylor in when Trent Taylor was playing along with Garoppolo. Like, I feel like Hunter Renfrow is way better than Trent Taylor was. So,
Yeah.
That might be something to look at. But in terms of other people breaking out, I can't really think of many more. So I'll let you go for it.
Cool. My honorable mention, right off the bat, every single breakout that I have is on defense. Not one single person on offense. The only one I consider was Michael Mayer, but I feel like maybe towards the end of the season, he'll come on and really start breaking out. Or, well, I don't know about breaking out, but show out right here and there. But Marcus Epps is my honorable mention. I think he's going to be very important for this defense, and I hope he's a playmaker. And he has the captain patch. I hope that he not only earned it in the locker room, but also earns it on the field. And shows for it. My technically third honorable mention, and this is based off of recent news, is Malcolm Kuntz. Between him showing out in the preseason, having reports in training camp that he was doing really well, and then now everything going on with Chandler Jones, I feel like Malcolm Kuntz is going to get a lot of playing time this season. So I have him as a breakout. My number 2 is Divine Diablo, linebacker. He was sort of a breakout pick last year for everybody, and maybe around like week 9 or 10, he got injured and was out for the rest of the season. But he was on pace for a great season, pretty great season. So I don't know about Pro Bowl, but statistically good season. And then my number 1 is a tie between Tyree Wilson and Jacorian Bennett, the corner, 4th-round pick out of Maryland. If he truly is a starter on this defense day one, God, I hope he's good. I hope he looks like a true starter. Because it's been a while at corner for this team. So to have a guy that's young, first year rookie that shows real true promise at corner. Dating. I'm thinking back to days like DJ Hayden. I had a lot of hope for Garyon Conley, but that didn't work. And then recently, fucking Damon Arnett. Don't even mention it. So, yeah, those are my breakouts. Um, yeah, I'll never. You know what? I'll never. I have to say this at least once. I'll never forget. I mean, every year you get rookies, and it's like you get hyped, or like free agent signings, you get super hyped. It's like, oh, I can't wait for this fucking player, right? Well, 2019 first round, we have 2 first-round picks. We get Henry Ruggs and Damon Arnett.
That
And
was
Damon Arnett,
2020.
2020. Okay, thank you. Damon Arnett felt like a reach. He apparently had like a 3rd-round grade on like a lot of people's boards or whatever. So it was like, dude, fuck me. But we were like, as a hopeful fan, it's like, God, I hope this dude's good and like proves it. So in training camp, he had a play where they filmed him like man to man on a receiver, some veteran, right? Quarterback threw it deep. It was like a fade, right to the back corner of the end zone, and it was like nice coverage, like but no pads, right? But he, like reached up, hit the ball out, and like he's like, oh yeah, like he's like flexing and stuff, and he goes up to the camera, he's like, it gets sticky in the net, and I was like, bro, what the fuck is that about? Like, it gets sticky in the net. I was like, dude, okay, I get it.
I
You're
think you
like
mentioned that
hard
to me
net.
before.
Yeah, like I think about it a lot. Like it's just one of those stupid things where your head just your mind just goes to random places. I'll be doing absolutely nothing, and all of a sudden in the back of my head, I just go, "It gets sticky in the net," and I just start like, "Oh my god!" Like, just, dude, yeah, Damon Arnett's gonna be a player I don't forget for a long time.
Mm.
So, yeah,
I want to name an honorable mention. This might not. They probably won't have a breakout season for the Raiders, but I think that they will be an integral part of the team and have a pretty solid role on the defense. Is Marcus Peters?
Oh yeah, good one.
I don't know if he'll break out because he's like kind of old. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like in terms of like
for this
he's
team.
past his prime.
Oh, I see. Yeah. But for this
You know,
team, he'll break out.
for this team, he will have a significant role, I think,
Yeah.
in ensuring that the defense doesn't get torched
Yeah.
by
For
number
sure.
one receivers at least. So
Yeah. Who is or are your MVP picks for this team, this Raiders team?
I'm gonna go ahead and say, I'm gonna say Josh Jacobs. I was in between Josh Jacobs and Max Crosby, but I feel like the drop off from Jacobs to Zamir White is kind of huge, and the Raiders are going to need they're going to need that rushing game to work with Garoppolo because they're. I mean, we've talked about Garoppolo being a game manager. If you put the ball in Garoppolo's hands, like to win you the game, I don't know if he's going to be able to consistently do that. You definitely want to have Josh Jacobs in shape. I question whether he'll be ready, like game shape ready for week 1, because I've seen videos of him and he looks a little bit more chunky than I remember him. But I think that Josh Jacobs will be the MVP of the team this year, like he was last year.
Yeah, that's certainly a safe pick, and I do agree that for this passing offense and obviously just the offense in general, the run game is very important, and yeah, he'll be vital for this team for sure. Is that your only name of mention? I mean, you said also like you were between him and Crosby.
I just think Crosby's the best player on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him or
Or at
Devontae.
least him, Devontae, or Jacobs. I would go him or Devontae. I think they're a tier ahead, but I think Jacobs is the workhorse that they need.
Mm.
So, you know, I don't know if Zamir White can take that over a
No,
17 game season.
no, definitely
I've
not.
seen Josh Jacobs do it,
Yeah,
and he's still young, and he's on a contract year.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the fact that we've seen Jacobs have the usage that he did last year, like, it's a good choice for MVP for sure. Um, yeah, okay. My MVP picks. I have three. Well, I have three from 3 to 1, right? And tied at three is Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams, the two major skill players on offense. They are going to help my number two the most. My number two being, of course, Jimmy Garoppolo. Um, I think this season really rides on his health and his decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, if he goes down, I mean, because of this preseason, I'm a little bit more upbeat that Aiden O'Connell can, maybe he can do it. And there's only one way to find out, right? But uh, I think Jimmy Garoppolo is the pro, and you actually sent me a video recently, or yeah, of him saying, Jimmy Garoppolo saying, I forget what the question was, but he was saying something along the lines of like, well, I mean, this is like a business, and the team is always looking to replace you, and I'm here to prove them wrong, or like not like in like a
Yeah.
negative way towards the team, but just like I want to go out there and prove myself. Like, that was it. Like, well, do you have something to prove this season? And he was like, well, there's always something to prove, So
Mm-hmm.
it was a good answer, basically. But yeah, if he has that chip on his shoulder and he has that thing to prove that he's still that starting quarterback and he could still win games and all that, like that is what will get us more than 9 wins, is if he can go out there and be that guy, But my main number one MVP for this team is the leader of this team, the unquestioned leader of this team, and in my opinion, the face of this team, Max Crosby.
God damn, you didn't hesitate. I was gonna say Chandler Jones.
Yeah, no. But
Max Crosby.
yeah, Crosby. I think his leadership is the main reason for this. I think if anybody other than our defensive coordinator is going to get this defense rolling and to be where it needs to be, it's Max Crosby.
So you just took my pick and you think it's cool.
I took your backup pick.
So you think that's cool, huh?
Yeah.
No, but I mean it's pretty solid, you know. So
Again, just like the Niners one, like I just didn't want to be obvious and say Jimmy Garoppolo. I didn't want to say the quarterback, but I mean my number two is Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think because of Aiden O'Connell, I can pick Max Crosby over Jimmy G.
I don't quite see it that way. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo has to be exceptional. I think that
He has to be efficient.
he's got to be efficient, and he typically is pretty good running an offense. He's a serviceable quarterback. He's not terrible. I
He's
don't
a
think
good
he's
game
going to be.
manager.
I don't think he's going to be like the most important player on the team. Like I think Aiden O'Connell can step in there and run the team just fine if he has to.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that you gave at least the Crosby one. It's a pretty solid pick. Like I said, it was my backup.
Yeah,
But
and I like the Josh Jacobs pick a lot. I would say Josh Jacobs is. Oh, that's tough. Who is more valuable to this team, Josh Jacobs or Devontae Adams? That's actually tough.
it's easy. It's Jacobs. I'm telling
Yeah.
you right now.
He
I
should
mean,
be. He should be.
Devontae Adams is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, but they are going to rely more heavily on Josh Jacobs this season than they are on Devontae Adams. You can screen record this. I'm willing to put it out there. I honestly believe Jacobs has the bigger role.
Right. They definitely have the two biggest roles on offense, that's for sure. I mean, last year, Devontae Adams, 14 touchdowns. I think Josh Jacobs had 12 rushing. I forget how many receiving. But it's not all about touchdowns. Like the usage, yes, Josh Jacobs was used way more. I mean, 300 fucking touches. He had just as many as the quarterback. That's insane. But I think also, if you take Devontae Adams out, the passing offense gets completely fucked.
I don't think so.
I do.
I don't think so.
I think he's like that much of a difference maker. Like
Like,
I said,
yeah,
I
there's
think it's between him and Max Crosby for the best player on the team. Like I agree, Josh Jacobs is that good, but like Devontae Adams is fucking different, and Max Crosby is fucking different, and Josh Jacobs played like he's fucking different, but like he's not the guy that's gonna run consistent like big boom 90-yard runs. He's gonna get you big 30-yard chunks. It's rare that he's gonna get that Seahawks overtime game-winning run unless the defense is playing right up on the line of scrimmage like they were.
Yeah. I mean, when Jimmy Garoppolo came in 2017 on the Niners, he didn't have like a big name receiver to throw to. It was just like a wide receiver group, and he spread the ball around. He had Kittle, he had Trent Taylor, Marquise Goodwin, if I'm remembering correctly, and Pierre Garcon.
Mm-hmm.
If Pierre Garcon was healthy, like by the time Garoppolo was in,
Right.
So you don't need to have the superstar wide receiver with a guy like Garoppolo. I feel like you have to have the superstar wide receiver with a guy like Rodgers, because Rodgers is one of those quarterbacks who's like, he's only going to throw to the guy he trusts.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. We talked about the receivers fitting for Garoppolo before. Like Devontae Adams, I would say is the best route runner in football. But like as far as short yardage route running, Hunter Renfrow and Jacoby Myers are fucking brilliant. So, and I would expect a very West Coast offense for this team. So, if you took out Devontae Adams, I guess my issue would be you eliminate a massive threat in the passing offense to where the defense can sell out against the run, and Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't scare them enough, to completely win a game. Whereas with Devontae Adams, it's a little different, But as far as usage, Josh Jacobs will get. Yeah, I agree with your quote you stat of like Jacobs will get more than Devontae this year.
Mm-hmm. He'll have a bigger chunk of the pie. But what I'll say is, when the Patriots won their Super Bowls, when Josh McDaniels was calling plays, who were the top receivers?
Well, at one point, Randy Moss.
They didn't win the Super Bowl with Randy Moss.
Fuck, that's true. Good point. Yeah. No, they always had like Wes Welker, Danny Amendola. There was the other guy. Oh, jeez. And at one point they had a Deion Branch, I want to say his name was. That was like around the Randy Moss time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I know what you're getting at. Like, yes, Wes Welker,
Amendola, Gronkowski,
tight end. Yeah, and then there was the other guy from like
Aaron
the Broncos.
Hernandez.
They had there was Wes Welker. Oh, Edelman.
Julian Edelman. Yeah.
Wes Welker was the guy I was thinking of, but Edelman, yes.
None of these guys are like superstar wide receivers. The tight ends were fantastic, but
yeah, I mean Edelman played like a superstar, but like Hunter Renfrow's best season wasn't too far removed from like Danny Amendola,
Mm-hmm.
But Danny Amendola is definitely better than Renfrow, I would say.
Mm-hmm. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is not Danny.
My bad. Edelman. Jesus.
Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Edelman was. I mean, Edelman's like in the talks of possibly being a Hall of Famer because of the Super Bowl stuff. I don't know if he's quite a Hall of Famer, but he's definitely. I would say if the Patriots, I want to say they have their own Hall of Fame or Ring of Honor or whatever, he's definitely one of those players. Also, one of my AirPods just died. But my point, the point being, is that McDaniels' offensive system has worked in offenses. It has worked to get Super Bowls in offenses that lacked superstar wide receivers. So,
yeah,
you want a great group of guys, and I've told you this before.